Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another Heart of the Swarm broadcast brought to you by SCAstrea TV and Doom Esports and Rifkin, spawning in the lower left-hand corner of the map. It is the Zerg player from the team Evil Geniuses, none other than EGIdra.
And his opponent, spawning in the top right corner of the map, is none other than the blue Protoss player, StarCraft Ascension's SCAstrea.
Rifkin, this is such an exciting matchup. Neoplanet S, ZvP, two players from the United States of America. Can we just give a round of applause for the good old USA right now? Yeah!
USA! USA!
You're Canadian, Rifkin, but
it's okay, I can still cheer for it, man.
Yeah, but I'm stoked to see two North American players going up in a matchup. This is a very rare thing to see unless you're jumping around on the North American ladder. But both of these players known for doing builds specifically to each of their own playstyles. I say that because SCAstrea is known for his SCAstrea builds. They're pretty wild. I mean, as you can see by the pylon in the main base behind the mineral line, he's up to something already right off the bat. And EGIdra, I've been watching his stream. He's been a monster in Heart of the Swarm, Rifkin.
Well, one thing I can say about SCAstrea is, as we see he's going Gateway first, he's really, even at the ends of Wings of Liberty, he started favoring these Gateway first openings, and I completely agree with it, because they've worked wonders for him. He was telling me stories about how, out of the 5 times he fought Scarlet on ladder, the only 2 times he won were when he went Gateway first, and that really changed his mindset for Protoss. So I think adding things like the Mothership Core and what have you for Heart of the Swarm really makes us a much more viable option than it was before. So for someone who is already comfortable going with this sort of opening, we'll have to see how this powers through versus someone like EGIdra.
Yeah, this is already a wild build. He's going for that second gas right off the bat. So this is peculiar to me because although we've been seeing Protoss players incorporating this gateway first build at the end of Wings of Liberty, as you were mentioning, the Forge first seems to be the more popular option among most of the pros, that at least the ones that I've been seeing. And the response generally from the Zerg player is to be very reactive in those situations. If they see the Protoss player going for the expansions off the bat, they'll get Zerglings, they'll get Roaches, and they'll just run everything and get right in their face. And the Protoss player now going for the Gateway expansion, he's going to be the one to dictate the pressure. And you said that Mothership Core is going to be coming on the way. I'm very curious to see what kind of damage he'll be able to do at the natural of EGIdra.
Yeah, I mean, typically you had what was classically the Zealot Stalker poke against a Zerg player, and it could do some damage, and if not, at least force a bunch of Zerglings. But you add the Mothership Core on top of that, yeah, it's just ridiculous, because the Queen's the only thing that can shoot it back in the early game. And, oh, getting a bit of... Okay, frame hiccup there. Are you okay?
I know, I saw it too.
Okay, maybe it's just the replay then.
Yeah.
One thing here to keep in mind, folks, too, is this is only a couple days after HOT's release. So, I mean, for these two to have already, well, I mean, grinding out Masters is to be expected of both these players who are naturally Grandmasters, but to face each other on ladder already, it's pretty cool.
Absolutely, and that Mothership Core is out. Rifkin moving its way across the map very quickly here. A Stalker's in play as well, and a Sentry on the way. SCAstrea is still mining as much gas as humanly possible, so I'm curious to see if he's going to add on more gateways or if he's going to advance his tech very quick here. He's going to need to put down expansion. That is what he's going for now, and EGIdra's moved his first 2 lings across the map. Is going to meet this Stalker head on.
Yeah, it won't be a problem. He's just going to try and run past and get some scouting information, and... I mean, really, there's not a whole lot that's going to be given away. You see the 2 gas coming from a Protoss this early? That used to tell, like, okay, I'm going to rush something like Blink or DTs, but now, in Heart of the Swarm, that's not the case. 2 gas openings are a lot more common than they used to be.
Yeah, and the Zergling sees the Sentry there, so EGIdra's got to be scratching his head a little bit. Ling speed is about a quarter of the way done. First Stalker is going to make its way into natural, accompanied by that Mothership Core. A few Zerglings are in production, but that one Queen needs to take on that Mothership Core head on. He's got to be very careful with his micro here, not to take too much damage from the Stalker as well.
SCAstrea also
scouting.
He's got to be very careful because the Mothership Core is not very durable. It's nice. It's got some nice harass and other cool abilities attached to it, but a Queen can take this on pretty easily, much less 2.
And EGIdra has taken all of his drones out of gas, simply going for minerals at this point, making drones and lings. A 3rd hatchery is going to be placed down at that northern position there from his natural expansion. And SCAstrea is about to finish up his expansion as well, just going for Sentry composition at this moment, and 2 more gateways have been added on.
Yeah, it's a nice wall if he's created from stuff here at the front as well. With the Sentries, there's no real threat from these Zerglings. I mean, sure, he lacks the cannon that you would classically see at the front of the base, but with the Stalker there and 3 Sentries, and a Mothership Core who can overcharge the Nexus if necessary, he should be okay.
Yeah, and Idra's vision on this map is so fantastic. Like, he's scouting out the upper left-hand corner to look for things like proxy pylons, proxy tech, and his Overlord spread has gotten a decent look at whether or not that third base is going to be taken quickly for SCAstrea. Lanes are moving into natural, but they're going to be deflected relatively simply there.
Yeah, we talk about map vision. One thing I feel important to point out, and a lot of people haven't caught on to this since it's a newer map for Heart of the Swarm, is there is no watchtower on this map. This is one of the rare maps where there is no Xel'Naga watchtower, so you don't kind of get that OP corner of the map vision. Now we have SCAstrea going for a Stargate. Now I'm really curious what this is going to be because we've seen a lot of Protoss players like Whiterun and Grubby like to use units like Oracles, especially against, well, your opponent, there we go, Oracle coming out first, to get into their mineral line and do some damage, but if you retain them for later, they're still pretty good like, they have such high damage versus light. If your opponent goes Hydras or something, they will shred them to bits.
Yeah, they do damage so fast, and if you're just not paying attention for a split second, all of your harvesters can be gone. Like,
yep. Snap of the finger.
But Idra's going for the lair, so this is definitely going to signal an advance in his tech. He's going for the +1, got a Roach Warren on the way, making a Spine Crawler at the third base. This Mothership Core is going to scout the third base, try to kill a drone, but still 0 kills on that.
This Mothership Core has max energy. It's really important he does not lose this. Not only do you lose the ability to time warp, but that mass recall is so good for harass. You know, you send 12 stalkers to your opponent's base, recall out, and you're good to go.
And I'm not sure if Idra's Overlord spotted out that Oracle, but...
Nope. Doom lagging out now, apparently.
Goodness gracious.
I didn't know you could do this in replays.
Oh, well, still the first couple days of this feature, but we're going with it.
Yeah, we carry on. Now, SCAstrea, I mean, the thing is, a Protoss player, whether it's Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm, 2 base is really strong play out of a Protoss player. There's not a lot of other situations in any other sort of race or matchup where you're comfortably on 2 bases, but holding that thought as the Oracle is chased off for now.
Yeah, I believe Idra spotted it with his Overlord when it came out of the natural at first, and he made that Spore Crawler right away to deal with it with that single Queen deflection, takes down the shields, but SCAstrea gets out there as soon as possible. And
yeah, it's really...
because Compressor is going to come.
It's really important to retain the Oracles as well. I mean, you can get in there, and if you kill 8 workers, that's nice, but if you lose the Oracle, then it's no good. Because the Oracle's like a medevac, right? Like, it hovers outside the base, and it's the threat of constantly being there. If you kill it off, that threat's gone, and it's no longer an issue.
SCAstrea is using the Oracles very forwardly here, though, Rifkin. Targeting down this Queen, it's the only thing standing between them and the rest of the army, and 2 Queens may fall here. Spore Crawler's going to move in place, but it's going to be too late.
You don't often see Oracles actually go for the Queen. They usually just go for the workers and run out, but EGIdra evacuated the base immediately. He knows he cannot deal with these Oracles at the moment.
Looks like EGIdra feels like he has to move forward with his army, but he's gonna be tracked immediately by SCAstrea's army, which is camped out on the third base. The creep spread has not pushed out too far, but EGIdra's spreading it in 2 directions now, trying to get vision if anything is coming his way at all. He knows that the third base has not been taken by SCAstrea, so he's got to feel like it's
he knows.
Pressured, but oh my gosh, he's taking it up top.
I was gonna say he knows a third base hasn't been taken by SCAstrea.
It would be a 4th base in this situation, but SCAstrea is playing very interestingly here. We're adding on the robotics base, so it is going to be a Colossus switch. We don't see a Spire or Infestation Pit from EGIdra whatsoever.
Void Ray coming out too, and I like this choice because on one hand, EGIdra has no anti-air with this army whatsoever, and Void Rays, you can activate the charge now. They shred roaches to bits.
Good deflected force fields there from SCAstrea.
Oh, can he get the Void Ray out in time though? Yeah, this is such a big army from EGIdra. I don't know that SCAstrea can actually hold this on. Overcharging the Nexus, okay, so that'll definitely deter this for a little bit, but I mean, that's one cannon-like unit versus an army of roaches and Zerglings, Doom.
Yes, and usually you would say that building his third base up in that north position towards his opponent is a bad move, but look how SCAstrea is just zoning everything out between his natural and that third base.
And here comes the Void Ray. This is either going to force EGIdra to go all in or just retreat, and looks like retreat's going to be the option.
This is great defense. I'm really impressed by this player right now, Rifkin.
I know one single Void Ray chasing up a whole army is so crazy. Now we do have Hydras coming out as well for EGIdra. He's been going with that range tech for the roaches, but also for the Hydras. Hydras, of course, now do tons of damage. Everyone knows this, but more importantly, they move fast off creep. And I think that's the most important thing.
And those 2 Oracles have just kind of been chilling outside the third base, gathering up energy. Perhaps they'll swing in for another attack, but there's a lot of spores there at the third base. I'm curious if he's just using those to deflect creep tumors, perhaps? Interesting.
At the very least, it's map vision, right? Like, EGIdra's not going to be able to take anything this way anytime soon. And Hydras, even if they come, yeah, they'll take out the Oracles, but I guarantee you these Oracles will take out 3 or 4 Hydralisks with them.
Yep, and he's moving them back. He just saw the army go down there. EGIdra is placing a fourth base in the southern position, and I guess SCAstrea is going to have to scout that out. He's just leaving the Void Ray kind of idle.
Yeah, and the Oracle, unfortunately, he does lose one. You have to activate the weapon and actually use it, sadly, so he does lose one for nothing, but getting the other one out alive, I mean, it's really important to retain this, whether it's for worker harass or for the actual army fight. But okay, we have EGIdra looking to move out. We got Colossus, we got a Void Ray, and a mostly Stalker composition. Is it going to be enough, Doom? I mean, EGIdra's army is so scary looking.
Yeah, but he didn't know that Colossus were on the field just yet. Looking at his vision, he hasn't actually scouted out the main base of SCAstrea. I don't know if SCAstrea has been denying Overlords or EGIdra just hasn't had an opportunity to move in, but EGIdra has no clue what the tech is except for when he poked in right there. So seeing the Colossus now, he's got to be thinking, I need to think about how I'm going to transition here, and he's going for that hive that could signal that Vipers are going to come into play. If he can pick out those Colossus, that could be very effective.
And that pylon was actually cancelled here at the third base. I thought it completed and was just simply destroyed, but not the case. But, I mean, this is actually kind of interesting. I like this composition. Void Ray Colossus has been making a bigger appearance here in Heart of the Swarm, and one of the best reasons for it is right now, look at EGIdra's army composition. Hydras melt to Colossus. Roaches melt to Void Rays. It's kind of a counter army just in and of itself.
Very true. But did you mean that the Roaches melt the Colossus and the Hydras melt the Void Rays?
No, but that can also happen. I guess it's going to come down to positioning heavily. I mean, when you got the sentries with the force fields, it's going to be really hard for the Roaches or the Hydras to get close to the army of SCAstrea. Yes. I mean, look at these sentries. They all got full energy. There's 6 full energy sentries. That's so many force fields.
I'm a little worried here for EGIdra because it looks like SCAstrea's hitting a very nice timing. He's got +2.
EGIdra's got a 3-pronged hit set up, Doom. He's coming in from 3 sides.
But the force fields are good. Gonna spread out the army to the back there, and the Hydras can't actually get on top of this. This is a ball. This is just clumped up and doing massive damage.
But the Hydras are taken out so quickly, and these Void Rays are being left uncontested. 3 of them are driving off the army.
Oh, dude, Void Rays are so effective in this.
This is what I'm talking about, man. The thing that's so silly about Void Rays, like, it's the fact that you can actually activate the charge now. It doesn't last very long, but it does so much damage while it's active. Now, of course, I was gonna say, it doesn't affect Hydras in the slightest, but you saw how fast that took the Roaches out.
It was pretty interesting to watch here, but EGIdra is transitioning into a slightly Viper.
Oh, dude, we got a couple
DTs. All these evolution chambers.
We got a couple DTs taking on this army. There's no Overseer nearby at all. He's going to lose so many Hydralisks, and these are such expensive units.
As long as he can deny that 4th base, though, EGIdra is in a decent position here. He's limiting the economy of the Protoss player. The Protoss player still does not know about EGIdra's 4th base. So these DTs may move down there into that position soon, but he's got one in the northern position, too. That could move into the 3rd. He's at least going to be spotted here.
Well, there's tons of Spore Crawlers and Spines in the 3rd, though. This DT is not long for this world. Return to the Void.
So looking at both of these guys' compositions here, the Vipers could be super effective if they're able to pull those big damage-dealing units out there. Void Rays, Colossus. If you can get them and isolate them away from the main army of the Protoss player, the Hydras and the Roaches can just focus them down immediately. They do have high energy because they have been leeching off of those evolution chambers. This is a little evolution chamber farm going on here by EGIdra, but EGIdra, he's got a max army deflecting the DTs at the 4th base.
Well, the best
he's gonna move out soon.
One of the best things mechanically about the Vipers, not only the pull, but the blinding cloud. This Colossus will not be able to fire from so far away. They will be forced to move, and EGIdra can create his own zoning techniques to deal with the force fields.
So much cool stuff in Heart of the Swarm, man. I can't wait to see how this game's going to progress for the next couple of weeks.
I know, like, I've been talking with some of the Zerg players, and they complain that the blinding cloud should be a little bigger, but when you consider it, it's about the same size as a force field, and it does the same effect, where it zones out that part of the area.
Yeah, just get more Vipers. Shoot. You don't need to make it any bigger.
Not to mention you could just, you know, yoink your army wherever you like it to be.
I wonder if we're going to see some yoinks, Rifkin. I feel like that's going to be the only way that EGIdra can really take this army head on, and I actually don't want to see him take it head on.
I mean, the last fight did not go for him well because of the force fields. He's got to just get some really good blinding clouds to be able to deal with this, because the Void Rays, man, there's not a lot of them, but there's enough of them. Same with Colossus.
DT's still pecking away at the 4th base of EGIdra, but EGIdra's going to move into the 4th here of SCAstrea. Really wants to deny this. Doesn't want his opponent to be on even bases with him. Stalker's going to move in here.
SCAstrea's saying, I don't think so.
And there's a couple of yoinks. The Colossus
pulling the Colossus. Yeah, SCAstrea trying to back up right away, but they go down so quick. And look at those blinding clouds. But again, EGIdra lost so much of this army to these Void Rays. Look at them go, Doom. They don't care about the Blinding Clouds.
The supply is dropping rapidly for EGIdra there, and SCAstrea is staying relatively steady. He's got 3 DTs warped in at the bottom right, but at the bottom corner, but there are 4 spine crawlers ready to deflect this.
Yeah, and that Spore Crawler is there to detect. You know,
Yes.
EGIdra making 32 Hydralisks. He is sick of these Void Rays, Doom.
I don't blame him, but what is SCAstrea's response going to be from here, Rifkin? He doesn't. What's his options? I mean, he's got the Colossus tech.
Well, we talk about his options. Well, I mean, we talk about his options like he's on the back burner or something, but really, SCAstrea is doing so well this game. I mean, even looking at the resources lost, I mean, it's Zerg, he's got an extra base, he doesn't mind being a little further behind in resources lost, but I mean, the reality is, he hasn't been able to really break this concrete composition of, I mean, he yoinked some Colossus, he killed 2 of them, but he couldn't get the last 2, and all the Void Rays lived. And, I mean, okay, if you're picking off Stalkers, that's great, but they're kind of just the cannon fodder when you think about it for the rest of this army.
Yep. And with that +3 attack upgrade, this Protoss army has been dealing up so much damage, but EGIdra's on equal upgrades.
Yeah, he's on +3 with Hydras. That is like the highest DPS.
But the biggest problem here, Rifkin, is that the 4 bases for EGIdra are equal to the 4 bases of SCAstrea. And in when the Zerg's in this position in Wings of Liberty, it's always been not the best place to be. And looking at the way that Neo Planet S is really shaped and formed, you're just going to try to take 2 bases, one in the middle and one in the upper left. But how long can that gold base really last? It's going to be spotted immediately by this observer. All right, no, it's not.
Well, the nice thing about a gold base is it doesn't need to last long. You'll get a lot of resources from it quickly. But SCAstrea's got to have some inclination that what's going on now. We not only have Dark Templar, but a lot of Zealots hitting the southern part of the map. This will distract EGIdra if nothing else. It should cause a lot of damage, actually, if EGIdra doesn't respond, because his army is maxed. He cannot just reproduce here. Now, nice fungal going down on the DTs, but, I mean, there's just so much damage here, it's kind of irrelevant.
He's clearing out those spine crawlers, though. This could make the way for an additional attack sometime after this. SCAstrea's moving his army now to the left, and he's not really going to be able to take much advantage over that. Didn't do quite as much damage as he probably would have hoped to.
Yeah, EGIdra's got a nice set of spines coming down here in the middle of the map, some spores as well to deal with any air or Dark Templar, but, I mean, I don't know, giving EGIdra a gold base could really hurt SCAstrea. It's not about the 5th base, it's about the gold base.
Yeah. But it's gonna get spotted by this observer. Yes, okay, SCAstrea is aware now. But you gotta fear for that observer's life. Here comes the Overseer in, and boom, it's gone.
I like this though. SCAstrea's continuing with a lot of these side hits. We see a ton more Zealots warp into the north here. Of course, EGIdra's going to be forced to respond, but this kind of dictates that EGIdra's not in control of the map. He's got to constantly respond to SCAstrea, not be the aggressor. He wants to get in here and attack this 4th, but he knows that he can't.
Yeah, but EGIdra's such a fantastic player, Rifkin. Look how he's just building more spine crawlers, not being afraid to just drop them down.
This looks like Brood War to me, Doom. Look how many Hydralisks we have on the map. Like, this is so wild to me. This is what's so cool about Heart of the Swarm. Completely changes the game dynamic.
Absolutely. When's the last time you've seen Hydras in mass versus this Protoss death ball?
Big game 100, no rush 20 minutes.
You know what's curious to me is that we haven't seen the Mothership at all in any Heart of the Swarm competitive play. It's always been just the core.
Yeah, it's a very expensive unit. It takes forever to warp in, and it doesn't build like you have to build it out of the core. Oh wow, look at this. We got hallucinations.
Crazy. Yeah, man. Hallucinated Zealots, so it's SCAstrea is throwing away a lot of minerals here, but this is just a hallucination. I mean,
well, plus EGIdra, cool, this would work better if EGIdra was on the opposite side of the map and was responding to the hallucinations, allowing the real units to go through. But EGIdra doesn't see the pylon that's been built down here, Doom.
Here go the Void Rays into the middle, charging ahead. Spore Crawler is going to focus down that observer, does drop. There is another one in play, though. A couple of Hydras are going to move in and get picked off kind of quickly here, and SCAstrea is going to have to move back.
But look at this, SCAstrea is poised and ready to warp in at the south as well, so no matter how this goes, he's going to cause some damage some way, somehow.
We're on the brink of a huge clash, Rifkin, and I don't know how it's going to go with the Vipers.
We got air tech.
Fungal with Vipers? This could be crazy.
Ooh, nice time warp. Going to slow down the army for a moment. But we have, okay, we have that fleet beacon now, so whether this will become an actual mothership or we'll see carriers start being produced. We saw him do it for Hyun. Oh no, the mothership core gets gobbled up, Doom.
Insta gobble up here. There's a couple of DTs and Zealots though going to be pressuring this 4th base. These spine crawlers may not be enough to hold these back. And here we go, the big clash is going to happen. Huge fungals going down on that Protoss army. And Hydras are actually being melted by the Colossus. The Void Rays are simply not dying.
And my camera appears to become stuck. Oh, there we go. Awesome glitches. But yeah, I mean, SCAstrea took that fight marvelously. And I don't know, he comes out with the Void Rays alive, which I feel is the biggest part of this. I mean, he's losing the Colossus, that's really not good. He's losing the Stalkers, but the Void Rays are really just... I can't even believe they're doing this much damage to the Hydralisks because, well, that doesn't make sense to me, but it's working.
Yeah. Void Rays are certainly the biggest part of his core army, but these Zealots have been worked into the bottom. The Spine Crawlers being almost defeated before, now we're going to drop immediately. EGIdra can't keep up with the amount of Zealots that are down here. They're going to charge in, kill drones.
Yeah, EGIdra's responding to the south, and SCAstrea's moving in the north. This is a good way to abuse a big map like this. You know, constantly force your opponent to the wrong place. Oh my god, getting the hatchery. It's going to be close. These Hydras have so much damage. He just barely 23 health. What? Meanwhile, look at all these spines over here, Doom. The Stalkers can't move in, but those Void Rays, they don't give a good gosh darn.
He could move in with the Void Rays, but he's got to be very careful that the Fungal doesn't lock them in place.
Oh, he finishes it off.
With GTs. Okay.
Yeah.
SCAstrea is so smart.
If he had left that base alive, he would have just been so mad, I tell you.
I didn't even see what the HP was, but it was so
23.
Oh man. EGIdra has not populated his middle base here, Rifkin. He's got gas going on both of these, but he has not taken advantage of those gold mirrors. I wonder if that's intentional. Okay, the transfer has officially come. Drones are in place.
I imagine it's heavily delayed too because of the fear of getting hit. It's a much more vulnerable base. But here we go, Doom. Look at this. All these Hydras getting picked off. The Infestors, these DTs are doing so much damage all game. Yeah, nice Fungal, but ugh.
I think EGIdra, that may have not been an intentional move to not have those drones there at the middle, because having that fourth base drop, his economy has dropped to literally almost nothing. He was just sitting at almost zero minerals for the past minute, and that's not good when you're reserved.
Oh, Doom, these Hydras are gonna get boxed in if he's not careful.
To lose these, he literally cannot afford to lose these. Not only does he not have the minerals.
Look at these lasers! It's beautiful. Ah! A bunch of infested terrorists coming from behind, but I don't think it's enough or in time as these Hydras are gone.
Colossus are ripping through everything. The Void Rays, sure, they're great, but the Colossus, the backbone that's doing splash damage and spreading out everything in a line. Pretty much all of EGIdra's army has fallen, Rifkin. He's got the larva to reproduce, but again, the economy is not there if SCAstrea hits at the middle base.
I have to agree with EGIdra in this case. I've never seen Void Rays beat out Hydras just straight on like this.
You have to think that they're the design counter to the air, right? I mean, geez, this isn't even carriers.
Well,
Void Rays, Rifkin.
I don't know that they're necessarily the design counter. I mean, I think Mutalisks would do a bit better job than Void Rays. SCAstrea, you can say they're a little ridiculous. Meanwhile, we have him adding not only Tempest but carriers to his army. This is Sky Toss being just, I don't know, way too strong at its finest.
This is Heart of the Swarm. What a fantastic word used by EGIdra there too, magnanimous. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, word of the day, provided by EGIdra.
Yeah, and before I try to use this word 20 more times today. Make myself sound really smart.
Well, here we go. Neural Parasite. Now, imagine if he had been able to Neural Parasite those Colossus at least just to take him out of the battle there for a second.
Well, I gotta say, I would really like to see EGIdra do some more hit and run with Fungals than these straight up engages. Like, I feel getting the Void Rays, the Colossus, just even if it's stripping their shields off before an actual fight, would make this go so differently. Because those Hydralisks, they've got the damage. There's no question about it, but they don't have the durability. And if you can do anything to even that out.
Yeah. Well, EGIdra's going to go for a largely Infestor composition. Those Infestors at the top are going to get dropped.
But there's nothing there for them to kill. The base has been mined out for so long. I don't think EGIdra... Oh, man.
Look at what SCAstrea's composition is, Rifkin. Tempests and carriers. Now he's transitioning into the as you said before, Sky Toss. It's really limited as to what EGIdra can really do to counter this, and I'm surprised we're not actually seeing a Spire down here.
There we go. This is what I'm talking about. This is what he needs to be doing. These hit and run Fungals, because SCAstrea's been clumped all freaking game. This isn't going to do tons of damage, mind you, but if you could have done this earlier, I think these engagements would have gone differently. But at this point, this late in the game, EGIdra, I don't see a way for him to beat this. Yeah.
And it's the leaving of the game, the Tempest range, the Colossus range, just too much for him to overcome, and he's going to fall to Team SCA's SCAstrea.
God, this is such a disgusting composition. This looks like a whole new unit. Look at this. It looks like the Tempest is the head, with the Colossus as like the cockpit type thing.
Oh, yes.
That looks so cool.
It's like a Power Rangers thing.
Alright guys, well thanks for enjoying the broadcast. Hope you liked it. This is Doom and Rifkin signing off.